Thank you, all of you, to be here tonight. I'm very honored to show this film at the AFI Film Festival, and with such great friends here tonight with me. I met Baldwin, or I read Baldwin when I was 16, and he never left me since then. He was part of my life. He helped me shape my mind at a time where there were very few authors who gave me a real rendering of the world I was living in, both historically, politically, artistically, and so he played an immense role in my life. And I'm sure he did in the life of many people, by the way, white and black. This film was possible because of the incredible generosity, patience, and protection of the James Baldwin estate. They gave me everything. They gave me access to any book, every letter, every published or unpublished manuscript, and this with, I would say, a very rare generosity in a world where money, capital, and profit plays a huge role. And it took me 10 years to make this film, and they followed me all the way through those 10 years. So I won't be longer before you see the film. I think we'll have a discussion after the screening. I just want to say to finish that I wanted this film to be total James Baldwin raw. And I just wanted to be the messenger. Thank you very much.
Well, please help me welcome back to the conversation Cameron Bailey and the director of I Am Not Your Negro, Raoul Peck.
We can't help but watch this film in that moment. This is a different country now. But I want to ask you first of all about your context for this film and telling, in a way, sort of the ideas of James Baldwin. Because it obviously is about so much more than just one particular moment. There's a long history that we're talking about, something, a kind of a narrative of America that's always been there. So for you, was the context any one particular moment, or was it the always of America, shall we say?
Well, I think the big mistake that we do is that when you started with it, Donald Trump doesn't come out of nowhere.
You should go back there.
It's a long story that I started probably around Reagan time, and eventually before. So, for me, making this film was always, how do we go back to the fundamentals? How do we go back to the voices that help us understand what's going on today? You know, and I am old enough to have seen those changes, to have seen how the TV, the news, everything we have been bombarded with, Facebook, Twitter, all those so-called media tools, how it changed totally our way of seeing each other, of seeing this country, how much they invaded every part of our brain. And you know, the words that Baldwin says about the industry, as he called it, you know, these images are not made to clarify the reality for us. They are made to make us, you know, live in a dream world, which is not the reality.
I wanted to ask you about that in particular, because it did seem that if there is something specific about this.
It's not working.
Yeah.
Looking at that piece, then the great advice will continue. One of the things that does seem specific about this moment is that America is having a conversation about race in a much more intense way than maybe it has in a long time. This is specifically about whiteness, which is something Baldwin actually wrote about. He wrote about how white people need to address the fact of their racial identity in a way that the entire culture has obscured, often through movies, as you show so beautifully in film. Can you talk a little bit about that aspect of the film and articulating that idea of Baldwin about race, and particularly about whiteness, which wasn't even a term when he was writing it. That's really become an academic study now, but he was really talking about it decades ago.
I think he saw it differently because he talked of it about through his own identity, about discovering who he is. And he had that feeling very early on, being already a preacher at 14. That means already having to speak to adults. And he wrote about it, that he at one point he did not really believe everything was preaching. So this self-reflection, he had to start very early on. The pressure he felt as a young man and being gay and without being totally sure about it. And he had nowhere to look for model. So one thing that is very deep for Baldwin, and I think that's what he left out now, is the idea that you shouldn't let anybody define who you are. And he made sure that he was always the one defining who he is. He did not accept any names, any place they would assign to him. And that's what personally also I found the strongest with Baldwin. So he had the necessary distance as well to see not only his image or the image they were putting on him, but also who was putting the image. And he could very early on ask the question, why is that necessary? So, and it's maybe another aspect also that is very important for him is that he learned very early that it's not so much about white or black or Chinese or whatever the definition is. It's about human being. It's about being somebody. And that was what he fought for all the time. And that's why his word, you are a very diverse audience, but I think somehow each one of you connected with something. Because he has a very humanistic approach. He tells us directly, but at the same time, it's human, it's real, he's not faking it.
Seems to be working a little better now. I want to ask you about your decision as a filmmaker to bring in not just the moment that Baldwin was writing about, he was writing about Medgar Evers and Malcolm X and Martin Luther King Jr., but to connect those leaders with Ferguson, with police brutality now, and with media now as well. And your examples of film clips go well beyond Baldwin's own era. And so I want to ask you how and when you decided that you had to connect his writing from a particular moment in time to what's happening right now.
Well, having read Baldwin very early in my youth, the way I lived through the world or through whatever was going on in this country in particular, I always had Baldwin in the back of my head. It's not something that I left and came back to. It was really a personal instrument, a personal, concept, a personal.
What was it about his writing that stayed in you?
It's hard to say in one phrase, but it's about, again, his capability to dissect the world, to deconstruct the world, and to deconstruct his personal life and the life around him, to see himself as a private person, but also society around him. And that capacity, and so early at the time where it was very rare to be able to do that. And I think the fact that he left that country to go to Paris helped him also have some distance to this incredible, tense daily life. I had, his sister Gloria told me one day, and I didn't really understand that, because we always had an image of Holland in the 20s or 30s as a dangerous place. But the contrary, when you left Holland to go downtown, you didn't know if you were going to come back. And the whole family was really tense about, when we stopped going with, 16, 17, 18 to go down to the village, the whole family were always scared of who's going to come back. So he was one of the few people who really understood that very early on, and I forgot your question.
It was about the contemporary element of the film.
So for me, it was always present, and what I said at the beginning about Trump arriving much earlier than we thought. I remember when Reagan became president, it was already a very violent assault on what democracy was, on what the relationship in this country, where they started destroying institutions, where they started liberalizing the economy and allowing deviance that today are, of course, normal, but it started then. So I always try to find a way. How do I analyze what's going on? How do I put it in a historical perspective? And I could always go back to Baldwin to help me do that. And that's why the aim of this film for me is that people should try to go back to Baldwin and see it really as a path to understand what's going on, not only today, but for the last at least 40 years. And we don't do that enough, because again, we are bombarded with so-called information, which is not. It's a big reality show.
I want to ask you, I imagine most people in this room, if you're here, are familiar with Baldwin's writing, but for those who have maybe never read anything from Baldwin, where would you recommend people start?
The Fire Next Time. It's a small book, and I think if you read The Fire Next Time first, you will read all Baldwin.
You mentioned that you had the full cooperation of the Baldwin estate, Baldwin family. How did you get that? Tell us that story.
Well, it's the story is the Baldwin estate has a really bad reputation in that sense, that they don't respond, or they don't want to give rights, and they are very protective of James Baldwin's legacy. And I remember asking my lawyer here, Nina, she's somewhere, Nina Shaw, Nina, should I, because I knew it was time for me to start to do something with Baldwin. And I asked her, should I, ask the estate or write to them and call them? And she said, Raoul, it has been very difficult over these years with them, but you should try. And she encouraged me to do that, and I wrote a letter. And 3 days later, I had an answer. And they told me, come to Washington and visit, and we'll talk. Which I did a week later, and I was received by Gloria Baldwin, Gloria Clarissa, who is James Baldwin's younger sister. And very open, and but pretty quickly I understood what was the source of that, is because she she knew my film, she knew Lumumba, she had seen Lumumba, and she came from a generation who had very deep links with Africa and the liberation movements and the independence of the new countries in Africa, and Lumumba was for her an important milestone in her life, and so I think that's the connection that allow us to be very close very rapidly, and somehow she saw something in my work or the way I approach the films I make, as that she could trust me, and that's what she did. She really let me have access to everything, and then I had this huge responsibility on my shoulder, because to have access to all that and do a bad film. So it took me four years to finally find the door to enter that hole, because I knew I had to put the words different. It had to be about Baldwin, not about me, not about, I didn't want any talking heads in the film. I didn't want anybody interpreting who he is. His biography is not important. That's his words is what is important. And so I got one day, Gloria gave me a little pile of papers, and among them the letters that I used. And then she just told me, here now, you don't know what to do with it.
I want to ask you about one creative decision that might have been difficult as well, which is you have Baldwin footage, and footage that I've certainly never seen before. I've been speaking at Cambridge and on the Dick Cavett show, especially. Very powerful footage. We see him speak, we hear his voice, we hear the sound, the texture, the cadence of his voice. But then in his writing, you have Samuel Jackson reading his words, and it's different. And it's a nice tension, I thought, between the two of them. Can you tell us about casting Sam Jackson for the narration?
Well, the idea is that he's not reading, he's playing. He is Baldwin. That's the trick. I didn't want a narrator, I didn't want a voiceover. For this approach to work, you needed to create a real character who is Baldwin, so that you never ask the question. You never really, you just enter the film, and the whole dramatic structure of the film is also, playing in that direction. How do I introduce you to that voice, and what is the voice saying? And I knew that I experiment a lot with voices in my film. The Mobile documentary was also the same formal approach. And I knew if I go for just a voice, that would not make the cut. And so Samuel Jackson was on the top of the list. And again, thanks to Nina, I was able to have access to him, and we sent him the film, and I think the response came very quickly that he wanted to do that. And it was a wonderful, work, and I didn't have to tell him much, just, everything has to come from the inside. These words are your words. And so that's why you get the emotion, you get the irony, you get the fun sometimes, even silence or really very powerful moments. So it's active.
Yeah, it's not just reading, exactly. Yeah, and you can feel it. I actually wasn't told if we are going to take questions, but I want to hear what you have to say. So let's just take a little bit of time to hear from people out here. Let's start over here. Yes, go ahead.
J'ai eu le plaisir de connaître James Baldwin à Paris en 1957. Il a vécu dans le quartier latin et moi j'ai vécu dans la région de Montparnasse. Et j'ai eu le léger amitié de James Baldwin.
What's your name?
Est-ce que vous comprenez?
Oui, j'ai compris.
Oui.
She said she knew James Baldwin, she met him in
He
Paris,
lived in the Latin quarters.
1955, yes.
And he frequented the la Café Monaco, et moi, j'ai pris comme le Stilex Café à Montparnasse.
Okay, yes, it still
I
exists,
think-
the select
No, I was acquainted with him, only to say hello, how are you, and exchange light talk, because he lived in the Latin Quarter, and the Latin Quarter is around la région de Sorbonne. J'étais une étudiante à la time. I was a student at the time at the Sorbonne.
Merci.
And he was there, he was writing. He and Richard Wright.
Yes,
Wow.
yes.
In the bookstore, Shakespearean bookstore, right there.
Shakespeare and Hamlet, yes.
He had his books.
We're going to have to go to the next person. Yes, right here. Thank you.
First of all, thank you so much for making this book. We definitely need stories told in a raw sense like this. My question comes from three things stuck out most to me. The discussion of the fantasy that we have in this country, of our history, of our reality, of our present, and furthermore, the reluctance of leaders to step up. What would you speak to the importance of influencing hearing in a raw way and still being artistic? Because I think the tendency with creators sometimes is to make things display a point to make things beautiful, but sometimes we need that rawness to really have a real conversation. And that's evident in how you made this film and presenting information in a manner which is absorbable by a diverse crowd, because it is so raw and it is pure information without illustration of perception or how it is perceived.
The question is about presenting information in the film in a very raw way for a diverse audience, a wide audience.
Well, the thing was, once you know that those words exist and that they are so powerful that they have changed the lives of many people, including mine. I knew what exists, I knew what I had. And my job was, how do I bring it in the purest form possible, but at the same time have an artistic approach to it, to put it in the right clothes, to put it in the right construction, to make it work on many different levels and layers. That's what you do as a filmmaker. That's you have such a treasury, like diamonds, pure diamonds. And so how do you fabricate what goes around it to even put it in a way that it can play its role? Especially today, it's very hard to find images and to put them in a way where they can be still impactful. Because again, you're bombarded every day with very violent images, with very, all sort of construction of images, and in fact, you don't watch them. Even the civil rights images, I knew that if I kept them in black and white, I was dead. Because people don't watch them anymore. Because we have all, every year the same celebration. We will see them again and again, the dogs, the fire hose, the policemen, etc. So I knew I had to find a device and a way, so I colored them. And then from that, I knew, okay, what do I do first? Because there are colors, but at the same time, it's the same story, just with new uniforms and better weapons. So I brought those images back to black and white. So the thing was how not only to put those words out, but to find throughout the film moment between the music, the words, the editing, the images, that you could go back and forth, where you also as an audience can bring part of your life. This is the sort of, as you say, those images I grew up with and currently do. So it's like revisiting my own imaginary, my own mythology. And so all this, is how to put it and create a story. In fact. You create character and you create a story with a dramatic structure, using everything. That's one thing that really allowed me to make this, I think, impossible film, was that I gave myself no limit. and formally and in the content.
Time for one or two more. Yes, go ahead.
First of all, I'd like to thank you so much for this powerful, wonderful work that you've brought us. They say that the artists and the scientists are the ones who contribute the most to civilization. I think this is a wonderful example of that. I see in the credits that you've received public money. And I wish you, if you could please share with us so all of these people can go like me, tell the world to look at this documentary. I see that it's funded by public television. Will you be on PBS?
Question is about public funding for the film, and if you talk a little bit about where it can be seen after.
Okay. The first thing is that the film has been bought by Magnolia Picture, and it will have a wide distribution, theatrical distribution. And the second thing is that, again, also PBS and ITS came on board as well at a time when we really needed them. So the film will also be on the public channels throughout the country. Also as large as possible outreach program to make sure that we can get Baldwin back to schools, to universities. But one thing about making a film like this, that's the other tragedy you mentioned. I'm not sure that if I had started developing this film here, that I would have been able to make it the way I did it. To be able to be your own master and to have the time to find the film before, being able to raise more money. So thanks God I was able to do it in France. They knew Arte, who was the first founder of the project. They trusted me, they funded all the films I made, so I went to them with probably 10 pages. And the name of Baldwin. And they knew who Baldwin was, and they said, go ahead. And it took me 4 years before I could come to them with a treatment. And so that kind of patience and trust is rare. And I don't know any funding sources that would allow you to be that free on a project and give you money for that. And I was able to raise money here, and once I started to have different edits, and the film was basically there. I needed a lot of tweaking and work, but the film was there. You could see, and we had a few rejections, and quite a few, because somehow you cannot understand what it is until it's finished. It was too complex. And this film functioned because everything at one moment just clicked together. The music, we were still working really artistically on it during the sound mix. Because the way you either fade out the sound or you put it on the next sequence tells a totally different story. When you stop the music, so it has really to be precise all the way. And so you need partners who can really trust you and help you go all the way without any compromise.
Well, we are going to have to, unfortunately, I don't think we have time for any more, so we are going to have to wrap it up, unfortunately, but for those of us that have been following your films for many years, and for those of us who are new to your work, I think this has been a remarkable experience to see what you've achieved here, so I just wanted to thank you, and I want to ask all of you to join me, please, in thanking you.
Yes.